Hello everyone, this is Dr. Nima and this is chapter 17, part of our exam for dental science for basic tissues. We'll talk here about the basic structures of the human body, which are the cells and the tissues, and where they are located, and some examples of them and what they do. So definitely the cell is the basic unit structure for the building the body, and it has multiple organelles in them. Like this is the smallest part of our body that makes all of our body. Like small cells would make tissues, and then tissues would make organs, and organs would make systems, and so on. But that's the smallest part, or the main part of our, the building unit of our body, and we need to know the just some parts of it. So most probably you already know that, but the nucleus is the brain for the cell, and also it has the genetic material, the mitochondria. So this is the nucleus. The mitochondria is the energy for the energy production for the cell, that what makes the energy. The lysosomes, these are the ones that helps the cell fight the foreign bodies. It's somewhere here, but it's not mentioned in the diagram. Definitely we have a cell membrane, a cytoplasm, endoplasmic reticulum, and other parts in the body, in the cell, that make each one of them have a different use. So this is like a lysosome. You don't need really to memorize any of this. This picture is specific. Okay, as we said, the cells would make, when they get together, they'll make tissue. So we have 4 basic tissues in the human body. We have a connective tissue, an epithelial tissue, a muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. And we're going to talk about each one of them and where we find them, and we get examples. So make sure that you know the basic tissues that we have and be able to recognize them. This is just one picture that shows different places where we have each, or example for each tissue. So we're starting with the epithelial tissue, and technically the epithelial that makes up the skin mainly, and the lining of the inside of the body. So it lines up all the cavities. The cells that we have, it can be either single layer or multi-layer. When we say multi-layer, we mean stratified. So stratified technically means multi-layer. So these are examples. So you can see that the shapes of the cells, we have a squamous and cuboidal and columnar. These are the different cell shapes. And as we said, we have stratified. So like we have stratified squamous and we have simple squamous. We have stratified or simple cuboidal, and we have stratified, transitional one. We have different ones, like the actual stratified actually have multiple layers in them. Like layers, you have maybe cuboidal or columnar at the bottom, then cuboidal, and then squamous. That's why it's multiple layer. Anyway, just know the main names for that, and know that some of them can be multiple layer or different. This is just examples where they are lining, where they're found, the epithelial tissues lining the body. Just some microscopic pictures of that. Connective tissue, the second tissue that we're talking about. The connective tissue makes the connective proper, which actually have multiple things in it, but mainly also make cartilage, bone, and blood. So again, if I ask you, like, blood is part of what type of tissue, so it's connective, or so on and so forth, or give me an example of connective tissues with cartilage, bone, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, even the adipose tissue is part of that, the connective tissue. What else? Fibers, cartilage, as we said, bone, blood. Okay. So bone, which is part of the connective tissue, it can be spongy or cancellous. Spongy or compact. Spongy, another name for spongy is cancellous bone, and this is found in the middle of the bone. We also call it bone marrow. Okay, I don't know why I put these in red, but it doesn't matter. It's just colored. And the compact is the outer layer of the bone, which is the hardest. See, that's the compact. That's the hard outer layer of the bone. Okay, blood is part of the connective tissue also. And this is for your information. What are the parts of the blood? Technically, it's made of plasma and then cells, and the cells are the erythrocytes and other different cells that we're going to talk about. Anyway, you don't need to memorize these pictures here and there too. Like, you don't need to know. It's not in the test. But here, the blood cells. So you have erythrocytes, which are technically the red blood cells. These are the ones that carry the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. Platelets, and these are the ones that would prevent the blood from leaking and form a blood clot. And then the white blood cells that help in the body immunity. There are different types, and again, you can read through these, each one of them, but all of them mainly work with immunity. Maybe basophilic cells. These are the ones that contain histamine. That's something to know. This is just an example of how the clot forms. Okay, so we're done with the connective tissue, the muscle tissue. Technically, most probably again, we have skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles. So the skeletal muscles are, they call them stratified voluntary muscles, because these are the ones that we can move. These are the ones that makes all of the movement, that when we want to walk, when we want to move, when we want to talk, because these are voluntary muscles. And, we call them skeletal because usually they're connected to the bones. So they're connected to the skeletal system of the body. Cardiac muscle, they're also stratified, but they're involuntary, which means definitely we cannot control them. And these are specialized muscles, muscles that are only found in the heart. And then you have the smooth muscles. These are non-stratified and involuntary, and they are lining the digestive tract. So like when you actually eat the food and the digestion happened without you actually controlling it. So it happened by itself. So these are the three types of the muscle tissues. And what do you need to know? You need to be able to recognize them from the picture. So if I get you these pictures, you know which one is which. So again, you can see the stratified, these lines that we have here, and here too. Like we have these lines on the muscle. While the smooth muscle, you don't technically see the line. That's why we call it smooth. And these are stratified, and these are stratified. Okay. The last type of the tissues that we have is the nervous tissue. Definitely it's the communication system of the body. So we have technically two main types of the nerves. We have sensory and we have motor. So the sensory are the nerves that actually makes us feel things. So it goes from the body to the brain. So technically, if you touch something hot, the nerve ending on your finger are sensory because they're actually relaying that hotness to your brain. And then because your brain now got it, and you need to move your hand out of the heat, a motor neuron would actually do that. Part of the nervous tissue would give the instruction from the brain to the body to move the hand, and that's why these are sensory, these are motor. And the cells of the nervous system, we call them neurons. So like this is an example of a neuron, and this is just a nice simulation of how the nerve impulses move from the one cell. Like this cell would end in another one, and then they move to the body and they move through and they go to the next one.